Hello, everybody. Welcome to a very special Troop Talk Live. We love Troop Talk Live days. As you can tell, it's special because there are three of us on today. And if you are a longtime watcher of the show, you might just recognize all three of us.
We have all three been on before. Today's a kind of a special day, Gina. It's kind of breaking news today. We have an esteemed guest with us today. Everybody say hi to Dwayne. How are you doing, sir?
Hey, it's so good to see you two again and to be with all of you.
Dwayne is a busy man. He's traveling. He's joining us from the airport. And Gina and I were remarking earlier, somehow he looks and sounds better than Gina and I, who are at our homes. I was like, what, airport Wi-Fi? That's never going to work. But he's doing great.
I think I'll just start doing these shows from the airport. But I know that I can't really I'm going to have to buy a plane ticket every week just to get into the good lighting.
Well, I'm going to knock on wood somewhere and hope that the Wi-Fi continues to be good during our conversation today.
Well, no matter what, we are prepared. Dwayne put together some wonderful talking points about something we have talked about before, but it's been kind of a long time. However, today is going to give you some actionable steps, whether you are going to maybe share an opportunity with some youth you know, or maybe you are youth that's watching with your parent right now and you want to apply for a pretty cool opportunity. We're talking the Scouts BSA National Youth Council. Dwayne is the chairperson, right, Dwayne?
That's right.
So what are we looking at? What is the National Youth Council? How long has it been since we talked to you? Just catch us up. Bring us from 2020 to today.
Oh, I'm so happy to be with you, as I said. So you all, I am really excited because today the applications opened for the Scouts BSA's National Youth Council. The National Youth Council came about 3 years ago. So this is our third cohort because in Scouts BSA, we believe that youth are the experts of their experience. And so we wanted to create an opportunity from youth from across the country to come together virtually to make recommendations about how to improve the Scouts BSA program. And so I'm excited to share more with you all today.
What's really, really cool, Gina, is that the live link to apply for the National Youth Council, it just went up in the last 24 hours or so. I'm going to ask behind the scenes Brian to throw up that link one more time. We just threw up a blog post on Aaron on Scouting with some more details. I would encourage everybody, if you know anybody as you watch today's show, if this triggers something in your mind, like I might know a youth who'd be interested in applying for this, tag their parents in the comments or forward this to them or forward them the blog post. The whole idea today is to spread the word about the National Youth Council and what it is, how it works, the application process. But as Dwayne just told us, it's basically a council of youth. There's a little more youth in there are this time than there were last time. I think last time we talked, it was maybe 15 or 18. It's 30 this time, I think. Is that right?
You've got it. Yeah, we're going to have up to 30 youth from across the Scouts BSA program come together on a regular basis starting in November to make recommendations about things that the Scouts BSA program the Scouts BSA committee is responsible for, such as merit badge requirements, advancement or rank requirements, the activities that occur in troop meetings, what goes into the Scouts BSA handbook, and so forth. So there's a lot of opportunity here for youth to provide their perspectives that will impact Scouts across the Scouts BSA program.
I think that this is just so important. I get really fired up when we start talking about it because we are always talking about how at the unit level we are youth led, and in a perfect world we're youth led all the way to the top, I think. And I think this is getting us there. I have to ask this. What does the process for getting nominated and applying look like? Just in case we have youth watching or parents who are going to tell their kids to apply, it's not quite that easy, right? You need to ask somebody to nominate you, and that's okay to do, right?
Yeah, so that's actually one of the exciting shifts we made this year in response to feedback from youth in previous cohorts who said, actually, I don't know who might be able to nominate me, but can I apply anyway? And so we made that change this time. So youth can directly apply. The application is linked. I think we'll show the link again in a few minutes.
Yep.
And the expectation, in order to apply, Scouts need to get their parent or guardian, as well as their unit leader, to sign a permission form, which you can access the permission form in the application itself. And so as you see here on the screen, the application went live this week. Scouts are invited to apply by the end of August. And then in September, we're going to spend time reviewing the applications and selecting Scouts who represent a diversity of backgrounds and experiences in the Scouts BSA program. We'll notify scouts who are selected in early October, and then we'll have our first meeting of the National Scouts BSA Youth Council in early November.
Very, very cool. The National Youth Council, it's a big deal. These folks are going to be gathering together, putting their heads together virtually to talk about, some of the big issues of Scouts BSA that the program is facing today. And therefore, the application process, you don't just put your name and information in there and click submit. It's a little bit of a process to apply. It's not difficult, but it is a little bit of a process. Dwayne, can you talk about that a little bit? It's not something you can sit down and do in 5 minutes. I think we're suggesting that folks block out an hour or two of time to sit down and really put some thought, because there's some questions in there that it would be really helpful to think about, right? That's how they're going to choose the people who actually get to serve on the council, by your willingness to put some thought and time into these answers. Dwayne, talk about that a little bit. Once we get that link, once they start filling out the process for filling out that application, what is that like?
Yeah, thanks for the question. And so once you've opened up the application, we'll ask some questions, some basic information, ask you to share some basic information about yourselves, like your name, your phone number, email address, etc., and contact information for your parents or guardians. We'll ask you to share a little bit about your scouting background, so current and former roles that you've held at the unit level, any honors or recognitions that you've received, and events that you've attended or staffed. And we want to hear your perspective and ideas. And so there are a few short response questions as well. Why are you interested in joining the Scouts BSA National Youth Council? What ideas do you have to improve the program? What is one thing you would never change about the Scouts BSA program? And we want to hear your ideas about how we can recruit more of your friends into Scouts BSA who don't already participate. So yeah, you can see right here on the screen what you need to be prepared to answer on the application.
Super cool. Guys, if you were watching right now, I just dropped a link in the comments wherever you're watching so that you can get right to the application and take a look at it. I would encourage you, if you're watching and anyone is popping into mind, tag their family, tag their parents in the comments so that they see this video and see how to apply. Again, Aaron wrote a blog post that just went up. You can check that out for a little more information if you want to pass that around. You can share this information via video, this one, or blog, email, however you want to do it. Just send a link, a text, whatever you want to do. We're making it easy for you. Okay, we touched on this pretty quickly, but what are the eligibility requirements for the council?
Yeah, thanks for asking. So in order to apply for the National Youth Council, you must be a current member of the Scouts BSA program, first class rank or higher, at least 14 years old and not yet 18 between November and April of next year, and then currently or have served in a position of responsibility in a Scouts BSA troop. So positions of responsibility are things like senior patrol leader, assistant senior patrol leader, webmaster, etc. And you'll notice here on the screen that it says nominated, but you actually don't need to be nominated for the National Youth Council this time.
Very, very cool. Laura, one of our viewers, is asking if any of this information will be available at the National Jamboree. Laura, good news. Dwayne's going to be at the National Jamboree. So go find him. I'm sure he would love to talk to you about it. I don't think correct me if I'm wrong, Dwayne, there's not an official presentation about this at the National Jamboree. Everything you need to know, Laura, you can get from the links we put this video and the links we're posting. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dwayne, you're going to be at the Jamboree, but you're not there specifically for this. Is that right?
That's right. Not specifically for this, but I'll primarily be at the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion community spaces in the Action Point area at the Jamboree. So come on by. You got it, Ashley.
Ashley knows. Ashley knows what's up.
Come on by, say hi, and I'd love to chat more with you about this opportunity.
Yeah, I'm sure Dwayne would love to talk to you, Laura, if you want to stop by that area. If I could, real quick, I just want to clarify a couple of things. Going back to the qualification requirements, there's an age minimum, 14, I think it was, right? So if you're watching this and you're thinking, well, I know a scout that would be really good at this, but they're only 12, they're only 13. Have no fear, there will be an opportunity in that Scout's future. This is a program that runs kind of concurrent with the Scout year, with the school year for the most part, right, Dwayne? They start off in November. They serve from November through the next April, and then the job of that particular council's term is done. they're released from their responsibilities, and they will do this again. I bet we'll have Dwayne on again, hopefully next summer around this time to talk about the next iteration. Am I correct on all that, Dwayne? Oh, Dwayne, you're muted there. We've lost your audio, but.
Oh, here we go.
Go.
I said, you're absolutely right, my friend. I would love to come back. And this is the third cohort of the Youth Council, and we anticipate having more in the future. So if you don't meet the eligibility requirements now because perhaps you're too young, and Elizabeth, I see your chat about Scouts who are mature, even if they are 12 and 13, they'll have opportunities in the future to apply for this opportunity.
Yes. Thank you, Elizabeth, for the comment.
And I think if we continue to keep this council strong, I mean, I think we're setting a precedent for maybe one day in the future, there are different councils for different ages where kids are giving their input. Who knows what will spring forth, but, you know, we're talking specifically about the requirements for this council right now, but I have hope. I think maybe one day we're going to see this become even bigger than it's already becoming. Guys, we're getting a lot of really good comments from friends of the show, from new viewers. Shout out to Troop 38 and Pack 38. Maybe Troop 38 has somebody who'd be a good candidate.
And maybe Pack 38 has a future candidate, right?
Exactly, because this is going to be going on. Yes. Troop 118, Dwayne, you're getting a lot of shout outs. Troop 1534, guys, be sure to tag families if you think that they might have a scout who would be interested and do a great job at this. In just a second, I'm going to drop a link in the comments to Erin's blog post so you can share that. It's got a link to both the application, a lot of little extra bit of information, requirements for council members. I want to get into positions of responsibility. What does that mean? Because I know that is one of the requirements you have for candidates. What is a position of responsibility?
Yeah, so positions of responsibility at the unit level include patrol leader, assistant patrol leader, senior patrol leader, assistant senior patrol leader, troop guide, OA troop, Order of the Arrow troop representative, DIN chief, scribe, librarian, historian, quartermaster, junior assistant scoutmaster, chaplain aide, instructor, webmaster, or outdoor ethics guide. And you can find this in the slide deck, which is available. If you go to this link and open the application, the slide deck is linked on the application form itself. And you can see the answer to that question about what are Scouts BSA positions of responsibility and other common questions that we receive in that slide deck.
Yeah, you very astutely just answered a question from, I believe it was Cassandra, who asked if the slides are posted somewhere. No worries, Cassandra. They are posted in that link within the application, I think, Dwayne. So everything that you really need to know, obviously you need to watch our show, but everything you need to know can be found in those links. One thing that's cool about talking to Dwayne now, as opposed to when we spoke to him a few years ago. When we spoke to him a few years ago, that was the first time they had ever done this. Now we have a few years of experience with this. So in just a minute, I'd like to talk to Dwayne about how the last couple of youth councils have gone. But I also want to talk about time commitment, Dwayne. Scouts are busy. A lot of scouts are involved not only in scouting, but also in sports and school activities and things like that. For someone who wants to be a part of the National Youth Council, what kind of time commitment are we talking about for them?
Yeah, thanks for asking. And I want to emphasize that a youth in the Scouts BSA program, their primary scouting commitment is to their unit. And so what we wanted to make the time commitment manageable and that allows them to continue to engage at the unit level. But the tenure, we will kick off the National Scouts BSA Youth Council in November of this year. And the group will meet monthly, the first Sunday of every month through April. The meetings will take about 2 hours. We'll spend together each month, but we're asking scouts to hold approximately 3 hours a month. So 1 hour outside of those meetings to engage in any pre-work or homework to help us be prepared for the conversations we're going to have.
And so with a few years under your belt, I'm curious, viewers might be thinking like, can you really affect any change? Have they really done anything? I don't know. Like, is this even worth my kids' time? What's been some of the outcomes that you've seen?
Yeah, one of the things, one of my takeaways from this experience is that this opportunity has blown my mind and exceeded my own expectations in terms of the value that the Scouts BSA committee has gotten from gathering a group of young people to come together virtually. So last December, the cohort made recommendations to the National Scouts BSA Committee. And one of the attendees on our virtual presentations was the BSA's National Commissioner, Scott Sorrells, who ultimately was so impressed that he represented the recommendations at the BSA's national annual business meeting last December. And that meeting is a gathering of the top national volunteers and professionals of the BSA. And so this to me is an example of how seriously the BSA is taking the perspectives and ideas that are shared by this group. A concrete example that is in process is part of the feedback we heard from young women who participated in the cohort related to the quality of the uniforms. And so as a result of that, we've gathered up their feedback and ended up meeting with National Supply and made recommendations regarding potential changes down the road. I don't want to get ahead of National Supply, but recommendations for them to consider as we think through future iterations of the uniform. And so that's one example of the ways in which the BSA has been responsive to the feedback. Another issue that came up that was raised by the youth related to mental health and a request from young people that the BSA consider additional ways to raise awareness around mental health. And the BSA, I know, is also hearing this from other corners of the organization as well. So this reinforced something we are hearing across the scouting program. And so the BSA has recently released an additional safety moment to increase adults' understandings of the signs to look out for related to depression and how to support young people. And the BSA is also preparing to roll out new resources in September in conjunction with National Suicide Prevention Month.
Very, very cool. It's so cool to know that this program that has been running now for a couple of years, heading into its third year, I believe, that, there have been some, actual progress, actual results, that at least, we were talking off the air earlier about some of this process. It takes a while. It's a slow process, but the National Youth Council has really spurred some, at the least, discussions, right, at the highest levels of scouting about making little changes, making little tweaks like that. So the impact is real, which is really, really cool and fun to hear. I want to address a question from a viewer real quick. You are required, a scout must have permission from a parent or legal guardian to do this, like all things with scouting, right? You have to have permission from a legal guardian. That permission slip, Dwayne, is it part of the application or is it separate?
You're absolutely right. So as soon as you click the link to the application on the landing page, the first page, you'll find a hyperlink to the parent and guardian permission form.
Awesome.
And that link is in the comments where you're watching. I see that comment from YouTube. So check out that link. That should have everything you need. This makes me think before 2020, we had like an iteration where we were testing kind of what youth councils, youth panels would bring to the table. And it was so interesting because, before we started it, we kind of hear about like, you're never going to really get a consensus. You're never really going to hear what kids generally think. They all think something different, And like you said, Dwayne, it's very surprising. At least I found it seemed like there were a lot of like unified themes that kept coming up, and they all had similar things to say that were just kind of flying over the heads of a lot of us adults, a lot of the leadership within, even the national office. So it's just refreshing to get kind of, the voices we should be listening to, putting them more central.
I so appreciate you saying that. Yeah, as noted at the top, we believe that youth are the experts of their experiences. And what we want to be true is that the scouting program is a safe program for all young people, that it's a fun program, and that it provides them with an opportunity to grow in their leadership in the ways that they aspire. And we also want to make sure that the program remains relevant. And the best way to ensure that the program remains relevant is to create opportunities for youth to shape it. And so I'm really proud of the Scouts BSA's leadership for prioritizing this opportunity.
You saying safe, I know, Aaron, you've got a good question coming up, but I was just going to interject and say, that just sparked a thought for me I hadn't really thought of. And, our programs are safest when we're listening to our youth as well. It's not just asking them to follow procedures and not get any feedback. I mean, we want to know what is your mental health like now? It's a totally different generation. How are they feeling? What are the pressures that they're dealing with? So how do we know that if we're not asking?
Absolutely. We just have a few more minutes with Dwayne, everybody. He's literally about to jump on an airplane. So we don't want to make you miss your flight, Dwayne, but we do have a few more questions for you. I want to be clear. I don't think we said this. We might just be assuming that everybody knows this, but the National Youth Council meetings are virtual. You don't have to travel. We never spelled that out specifically. They're held via Zoom. All you need is computer access, and the ability to participate in a Zoom meeting. Like Dwayne said, those meetings are Sundays, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern time. They do ask that you be available during those times, right? That's when the meetings are going to be. That's set, right, Dwayne? So that's kind of one of the requirements, is to be available for those meetings. I also want to go over real quick, if I could, Dwayne, we kind of mentioned this earlier, but the timeline, the application is live now. The deadline to apply is August 31st. So you've got about 6 weeks, 5 to 6 weeks to get that application in. The notification period ends October 6th. So by October 6th, if you have applied, you should know whether you were selected or not by around October 6th. And then the first meeting of the National Youth Council is a month later after that, November 5th. The council then serves all the way through next April. I think the last meeting of the council is maybe the last day in April, if I remember that right. Then the council is done and they're released. The kids can enjoy their summer vacation without having to worry about all that. Then we start all the way over again next fall, which is very, very cool. Dwayne, as the chairperson of this process now, going into your third year, what has this experience been for you? This is a surprise question for Dwayne. He did not know I was going to ask him this. What has this experience meant to you to see these young people come together? You're on the meetings, you see them in action. What has it been like?
Yeah, I appreciate that. I wear a number of scouting hats, as most adults in the program do, and this is the most fun that I have on a consistent basis, is having the opportunity, the privilege really, of convening a group of young people from across the Scouts BSA program, all of whom are brilliant and committed to scouting, and creating opportunities for them to share their perspectives and ideas. And it's made even more fun because I know how seriously the National Scouts BSA's leadership and the BSA's leadership more broadly is taking the perspectives and ideas of the youth. And so I have a lot of fun, and I think our young people who are on the council have a lot of fun as well.
I have one more question that's just popped into my head, and I don't know how I didn't think to ask it before this, but then I swear it's my last question. If you are a youth who has served on the council previously, can you apply again?
Yes, you can. And I after this conversation, I'm going to send the email to the last two cohorts of young people to make them aware of this opportunity. And should they apply, their applications will be considered just alongside everyone else's.
Obviously, once you turn 18, you're no longer eligible at that point, but assuming they meet the age requirements. Very good. Among the other resources that are available to folks is the official email address that Dwayne has provided to us that folks can contact people at. I think maybe behind the scenes Brian has that, but if not, it's Scouts BSA Committee at scouting.org. If you have any specific questions that you would like to send to Dwayne and his team, that is the place to send them to. Dwayne, anything else we need to address before you get on a plane and leave us? Any other things we need to address? Anything else we need to let our viewers know about the National Youth Council?
I'm just grateful for you all for taking the time to listen and hear about this opportunity. Adults and young people who are listening, I encourage you to spread the word because I think this is an opportunity that young people wouldn't want to miss having the chance to apply for. So thank you all.
Thank you, Dwayne, for making the show. Everybody watching right now, I urge you to tag anybody in the comments so that they can see this video as well, so they can see these important URLs and at least learn about that, that this council exists. We should at least all be aware, of the input we're getting from youth. We will be back next month, but it's not even like a full month away for Troop Talk Live again, and that's going to be an exciting one, right, Aaron?
That's exactly right. And we were just telling Dwayne before we went on here that you might hear from him again later on this year about maybe a progress update, how the Youth Council is going. See, when we say that on the air, Dwayne, now you have to do it.
Yeah.
Now you're committed.
Hold us accountable, viewers.
Exactly right. Always a pleasure to have you, Dwayne. Best of luck. Hope we don't miss your flight. We really do appreciate that. Thank you all for watching. Again, the link below, National Youth Council. Share it early and often with your friends. and family members and anybody who you think might be interested. Great job, Gina. Great job, Dwayne. Thank you all for watching. Hi, Angelique. Hi, everybody. We'll see you guys later. Bye.
Thank you all. Take good care.